All right, welcome to the latest episode of the Organic Fitness Podcast with myself, Colman Power, Organic Fitness. And I've got my latest guest here with me all the way from Connemara, all right? Stephen, all right, you introduce yourself there. I just want to tell the listeners just the little brief intro that I have for you. It's the likes of, you're on a bit of a weight loss journey. You're showing people where you are or where you were to where exactly you are right now, the training you're doing, the foods that you're eating, and as a result of that, you're kind of an influence on people trying to improve on their overall health. So I suppose if you want to add anything to that intro there, do.
It's a nice intro. I hate these things. Every time I do this, I always say it's like speed dating. It's like, how much info can I get out as fast as I can? Right, yeah, like you nailed it. I just started an Instagram page. I started it for accountability, for myself, to keep myself accountable. Started with Paul Dermody in September 2018. August 2018, I tipped the scales at about 156 kilos, 156 and a half kilos, something like that. I was on a family holiday. I saw this picture of myself in a brand new t-shirt I bought that day, and it was the first time I ever saw myself. I went, Jesus, lad, you have a lot of weight on you. You know, I had buried my head in the sand for a long time, and teamed up with Paul. He broke down and rebuilt everything I knew or thought I knew about fitness, nutrition, training, all these things. And Paul was a long-term friend of mine. Me and Paul worked together when we were 18 for a couple of years. But teamed up, and in the space of about 10 months, I lost about 100 pounds. And I've just kind of been tipping on since then. I kind of lost my way a little bit in the middle, a little bit. Found myself again. That sounds very deep. Found myself. Went on a retreat to Bali. Found myself.
But just to let people know who Paul is, Paul Dermody is an online personal trainer. Just for those people that don't currently know him, he's on social media, and I highly recommend him as not only an individual, a friend, but also a personal trainer. He's a good man.
Paul's deadly. He's a bit like Madonna or Bono. You don't even have to say Dermody anymore. It's Paul. He's like the fitness version of Pele. But yeah, teamed up with him, lost a bit of weight. Like I said, I found myself. I spent a long time, very low self-esteem, very low self-confidence. Wasn't really who I am. Being so overweight took a lot away from what I was. And yeah, this is where I'm at now, and I'm on a bit of a cut now at the minute again. The first official cut as such. So yeah, exciting.
That's good. But I want to touch on just for the listeners in relation to like what foods were you previously eating to what foods you're eating now, and how did your understanding of what you had previously been doing wasn't really working for you, and just put it out into whatever foods you were eating and whatever words and you want to use yourself, because that's really key, because foods are key, and the likes of the training we'll touch on next, I suppose.
Yeah, food, everything. That was the issue. I was eating everything I could lay my hands on. I had really bad habits. I got into a series of really bad habits around food. I had a new job, so I became a member of the guards, and my routine changed. I was working nights and stuff, and it took me a long time to get to grips with how to eat around these things, how to sleep around these things. So the example I always give is I used to finish early shifts. I lived 3-5 minutes drive away from work. I could have walked. You know, that was one of those habits. I could have walked to work, could have cycled, but I used to sit in the car no matter how nice the day was. I'd drive home. I'd start my day off. I'd have maybe a jambon and a sausage roll, those kind of things, at 7:30 in the morning from the Centra. I'd end up having a breakfast roll or a fry or something at 10 or 11. I'd end up having a carvery lunch, which was effectively a dinner for lunch, and then I'd go home and I'd probably have another dinner. So I was eating a lot of very convenient, high-calorie foods. I was eating share bags of Doritos and share bars of those big giant Cadbury ones that are bigger than your head, and I wasn't sharing.
Very little vegetables as well.
Very little fruit and veg. I convinced myself I didn't like veg, if that makes sense. You know, I know you might, but not a lot of people will feel unhappy and say, I need a bit of broccoli. They'll go, oh, I'd love a bit of Ben and Jerry's. Do you know what I mean? Like, and for a long time I undervalued it. And then when I got into fitness, I realized that it had a lot of benefits for, you know, calorie wise, which was something that effectively took over for me at the start. I had to reclaim control of calorie counting and my consumption of calories. But veg filled me up. I was able to eat a lot of veg for relatively few calories in comparison to things that were higher in fat or that a lot of oil. Plus, it kept me full. So I wasn't dipping into the Doritos. I wasn't dipping into the Cadbury's Dairy Milks and stuff, And plus, yourself, the gut health side of it kept the stomach turning over very well, which is important.
And did your palate change dramatically, or what way do you know what I mean? Did you start to enjoy fruits and vegetables? As you said, like most people when they start to improve or try to get into a fitness lifestyle, they go, I don't like vegetables. And I have to touch on point, I train a high percentage of individuals online now at the minute, but the fact is that they go, I don't like vegetables. But really, no one vegetable is unreal on its own. I don't go, for the most part, go, geez, you know what I'd love now? A celery stick. That'd be lovely. No, it's not. I don't love the likes of raw broccoli. You put it into stir fries, you add spices, you add flavors that you like the taste of. And one of the things is I ask people, I don't really like vegetables. Like, do you like curry powder? And I say, oh, they usually go, yeah. So I had to add in vegetables into a frying pan, put like some curry powder, sprinkle it over, and add in a protein source, maybe some carbohydrates in there too. Pasta could be a winner, and you have a meal right there. And you're going, oh yeah, I kind of like this now.
That's the thing, like you said, that there's so much variety out there. You can put any amount of spices on things. You can have any mix of veg there. You don't like broccoli? That's grand. Have some asparagus, have some fucking lettuce, have some tomatoes, have some onions, whatever it is you want. There's so much there that you can work with, and it is fantastic. Particularly at the minute, like I said, I'm being a bit more concentrated, a bit more aggressive now again with the cut. And I'm eating a lot of veg. I'm getting a lot of veg into me. So yeah, like you said, it's in each their own thing. But like you said, I spent a long time telling myself I don't like veg, with absolutely no basis on that. Just fucking veg doesn't quite taste as nice, or I didn't think it tasted as nice as the pizza or the Chinese or whatever it was I was, horsing down that night.
Well, I'm going to say that most people don't like veg and have that maybe idea in their head is because when they were growing up, it was literally boiled to within an inch of its life, as I call it, like Granny Murph style. She literally puts on the carrots, she puts on the broccoli, and it comes out, and it's literally put the fork through it, and it's like butter, just goes straight through it. But I just, as you do in the likes of your guard, and some people don't know, the fact is they do night shifts. And how do you deal with that, or what are the strategies around that? Because a lot of people suffer and deal or have issues with like the 12-hour shifts. So I suppose, what are your strategies and tips that you currently use could pass on to anybody else?
It's tough, really. It is the hardest element of it. I have a great deal of respect for anybody who can successfully navigate through night shifts without saying they have a problem, because I maintain that night shifts is probably where I gained a lot of my weight. Between the convenience of McDonald's, rocking up to Applegreen and getting a Mars bar and a pack of crisps or a bottle of Coke. I used to drink liquid calories till they came out my nose, which was a huge issue. But I suppose that the best advice I have on nights at the minute, and it very much is each their own. Some people will come in at 7 a.m. after a night shift and sleep until whatever 4 o'clock. They'll get their 8 hours that way and then they'll go again. I rather get up at around lunchtime and get a nap in before work. It's just my thing. But I have a snack pack. Always have it at work. I could be in the office, I could be in the car a lot of the time, but I always leave this in the car. So it's fruit, it's stuff like nuts, protein bar. For me, a big thing is controlling the controllables. So the things I can control, why wouldn't I control them if I can? So having stuff with me that's maybe higher in protein or healthier. I hate using the word healthy because healthy is so subjective. But some control that I'm not turning to the big greasy burger or something. If I get caught somewhere, I can turn to the apple, the fruit, the protein bar, and make slightly better choices. If you can control the food you bring with you, it really does help you at 3, 4, 5 in the morning when the vending machine down the hall is whispering at you.
That's good. That's good that you passed on those tips. I suppose in relation to your training, Steve, like what was your training previously like? Was it body weight? Were you running? Were you doing the likes of added resistant weights? You just tell me what you were previously doing to what you're doing kind of now.
When I started, or like before I gained, so like I used to play rugby. So being overweight helped. I was harder to move. I was never a Tyke Furlong now by any means, but so when I started with Paul, I'm 6'4", yeah. So what was the thing? I carried it well, and it's the same people that lied to me when I was 25 stone and said you carried it well are the same people that now go, you don't want to get too skinny now, like. And I'm kind of going, to stop. But yeah, I suppose when I started with Paul, it was relatively basic all over body sessions. So it was full body sessions. I think he gave me 3 or 4. I think it might have been 3 different days. And he goes, look, if you can do 6, do 6. If you can do 3, do 3. It's a progressive thing. There was a lot of resistance work purely because having played sports, I would have been quite used to, say, gym work, weights. No, there was a lot of room for improvement there in terms of form and technique and engaging muscles rather than I was a big fan of, like, say, strongman and powerlifting. So I was a big fan of moving weight without necessarily controlling it. There's a distinct difference. I didn't run. I didn't run at 25 stone, even though a lot of people felt the need to give me unsolicited advice and tell me that you have to run to lose weight. You have to run. I'm like, yeah, but I need my knees, and my ankles and my hips to be okay as well. Now, I did get into running. Having lost the weight, I ran a couple of half marathons, a couple of 30Ks and stuff. Out of stubbornness, I would have been told my whole life you're not a runner, and I was like, well, I'll show you now. I'll show you I'll run. Yeah, I did a lot of gym work, a lot of resistance work. I'm a big fan of the old school, say, bench, squat, deadlift. I don't like to overcomplicate it. You know, you see a lot of people are going on about different types of training and different, like, I love the Ronnie Coleman era, the Jay Cutlers. These guys just lifted weight, ate their food, they grew, they lost weight, whatever they had to do, they did what was best for them, and that's what I like doing. I love the gym. It's weird to think, like, but yeah, now if I don't train, if I don't go for walks, if I don't get outside, I'm a pain in the ass.
It's a natural de-stressor. Like a lot of people say, how, Coleman, like, how do you deal with the likes of the days that you don't want to train, I suppose, and that's the kind of question I want to ask you, because I've mentioned it before about it's not really about the days that it's easy to train the days you want to train, but it's more so the days when it's wet, it's cold, or even the days when it's sunny outside and you say, Jesus, I'm scheduled usually on a Monday and a Tuesday, day off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to train, and now the sun is splitting the stones outside, and what's going to happen now? Are you going to throw the towel in today and one day follows by another day? Or I suppose what's your point on that? I'd like to hear it in your own words.
Yeah, so I suppose in terms of either training or not training, so if I say training, I mean, say, resistance training, I mean weights. And for me, there's a distinction between being physically tired, your body being tired and telling you you need a day off, versus your mind being tired and you wanting to stay in bed or stay on the couch. There's a distinction there, and it took me a long time to be able to spot it. Because the last thing you want to do is I know overtraining is a bit of a throwing around thing, but you don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to train to the point where you end up tearing a muscle in your bicep or your back or your leg or something, because all of a sudden, you could have taken one day off, but now you're laid up for a month. I walk every day. It's just whatever about the physical element, the mental element for me of just getting out for a walk is huge. It just chills me out. It's a great de-stressor after work. Like, there's days that you can have long days of work and you're thick and you're a bit pissed off at people, and you just get home, get out of the gear, put on your shorts and go for a walk, and you come home a lot happier. Plus, I love cheesy music. And I'll just be out there. I'll be listening to, like, Westlife and Backstreet Boys and Five and stuff bopping around the countryside. And I come home and I'm happy. So I suppose in terms of nice weather, it's easy when it's nice. It's always easy to go for a walk or run when it's nice. But unfortunately, we don't get a lot of nice weather in Ireland. The West Coast gets absolutely hammered. But I have the whole thing about not being an aspirin. You're not going to melt if you get a little bit wet. Like, big deal. Put on a rain jacket, get out. There's something a little enjoyable about walking and running in the rain. I don't know what it is, but just don't knock it till you try it.
Yeah, and no, that's important. And I've seen you put that in social media on your stories, that, like, you won't melt, or there's no such thing as bad weather. It's more so bad wet gear.
Bad clothing,
and clothing, yeah. That's a classic. I suppose I want to start leaning towards the likes of people that influenced you and people that you hang around with, has this your circle of people that you surround yourself with now at this moment in time, the fact that have they changed, or are you listening to different maybe individuals, or surround yourself with more people that are into the fitness and health style of it, or what has changed, I suppose, in those terms?
Yeah, completely. My circle has changed. Yeah, my circle's changed almost completely. And not to say that I'm no longer friends with the people that I was friends with, but I value a very, very, very small core of people, in the sense that I know I can turn to them and that they'll give me the best advice for me going forward, rather than the advice that maybe, somebody thinks I want to hear. Because you can only get so far on yeses and people saying, oh, yeah, it's not a bother to you. Like when I decided to do my cut, I asked 3 people. I asked Paul, I asked Brian Keane, and I asked Shane Walsh Fitness. And I knew each one of them would tell me straight out, good idea, bad idea, and why. Like I try and get positive noise, I suppose, in my ears. I try to listen to people that are trying to do things, that are trying to get towards goals, that are focused, that are forward thinking, because that's just contagious in the exact same way that negative energy is contagious. If you're around cranky, negative saps that just sit there and drain you, you'll eventually end up just like them. And hey, if that's your thing, hey, that's fine, but don't fucking drag other people into the muck with you.
That's so true.
Your circle,
so true, man. And I call them like the emotional vampires. It's the fact that whether they're in your family or they're in your workplace and you're going into the canteen, and it's just like, oh, do you know what? It's Monday. You're like, so what if it's Monday? I'm training today. I'm looking forward to something. Do you know what I mean? Did you talk about something else, or did you hear how many people? Like, what's the common one? Or did you hear the numbers? And I went into someone in work the other day and I said, in the lotto. Do you know what I mean? And they were like, no, not the lotto. They're not the
the amount of people that get hung up on shit they cannot do anything about. It's crazy. And it's something, I think I read it in one of the Jordan Peterson books. If you can't do anything about it, don't let it affect you negatively. The amount of people that look back, oh, Jesus, if I had done this now, or if I had done that, it's like, well, can you do it? Well, not anymore. Full stop. Forget about it. Keep going forward. And you're totally right. People just Monday. What the fuck did Monday do to people? I love when my shifts change and Monday's my first day off. I just love it because people are like, oh, Monday. I'm like, it's my Friday. I'm like, it's deadly.
But you're a positive person. What I do on Mondays as well is, there was a period of time, I suppose, I didn't enjoy Mondays as much because I'd have the standard Monday to Friday for the best part. And what I do is I actually have blueberries on a Monday, because I really do love organic blueberries. And having them on a Monday is kind of like, boosha, it's Monday, I have organic blueberries. And people are like, I'm doing that as well. I'm on that. They're like going shopping, doing it the weekend. They're having their blueberries on the Monday. So people look forward to something on a Monday. And it's the first thing they do. What you have, your breakfast with blueberries, typically porridge or oats, complex carbohydrate. Tick, just focusing on one little positive thing. It kind of snowballs and has that positive effect for the rest of the day and whatever else you do.
I actually had organic blueberries there for lunch with yogurt, and I actually laughed when I saw the little carton and it said organic on it. I was like, it's like a sign or something. I was like, this is why.
Yeah, and that's good. And I'm trying to just get more people to eat as much as they can organically, and that just being a knock-on effect would not only be beneficial for you, but it's also beneficial for the environment, and long term we're looking after the soil and things like that. And supposing now that I'm often connecting with you, I have an influence on the people I hang around with, and that's the clear example of that.
But this is the thing, I think, and I've a mate of mine, Shane Walsh from Shane Walsh Fitness. He always jokes to me, he's like, oh, influencer. I'm like, every single person has the ability to influence somebody's life and make it a little bit better. Like, it's my thing with social media. I don't give a shit if I have 1 follower or 1 million followers, but if that one person takes stuff from it, brilliant. If nobody reads the post except one person, but they read it and they go, fuck it, you know what? No, he's right. I can do this, or I can try that. Then it's worth it. So it's the same thing in your day-to-day life. You can influence people. You can help them without being pushy, without being overbearing. You can help them just be a little bit better. If they're just like 0.5% better today and 0.5% better next week, over the course of a year or 2 years, they're going to improve their life drastically.
I have that thing about the compound effect. I have a Euro jar every time.
Yeah.
beneficial. I put a euro inside it and it's building up to something all the time. And that's the thing about one healthy food choice has a positive effect on your overall health. One training session has a positive influence on your body composition. One more thing, whatever it is for you, working in the right direction. And that's, I suppose, the next question I want to touch on. You put out a lot of, we'll call it motivational and determination kind of things on your stories and that. Where does that come from? Or like, were you always as positive as you currently are right now? Or I suppose touch on that.
Was I always as positive? Oh, Jesus, no. No. When I was at my heaviest, so say summer of 2018, in around that time, I was pretty low. I wasn't, like, I never want to overdress it and say that I was depressed or anything like that, but I was very unhappy. I was aware that I was overweight. You know, I had enough little knocks to know that things weren't right. I was not fitting in some of my favorite clothes. I wasn't able to run and play rugby as much. I had got to the point where I'd stopped training rugby, and I was one of these, I skipped tonight, then I skipped a week, and then a fortnight, then I just didn't go back because I was too unfit. The internet had a lot to answer for that because I was able to keep ordering up. No, you're laughing, but it's true. 20 years ago, if you gained so much weight that you didn't fit in your clothes, you kind of went, fuck, I better do something about this. Whereas I was just able to keep ordering a size bigger. I got to like 3X. I was like, shit, okay, I better start doing something about this eventually. But I laugh, see, it's because I got asked about the quotes earlier as well. Somebody messaged me like, why are you so into quotes? I'm like, I just love thinking. I love I love getting into people's heads. And I'll see a quote and I'll read it and I'll read or listen to the person when they said it. I'll be thinking about that for ages. I'll be thinking about what kind of mindset they were in when they said it, what came about that they said it. I see things and they spark me. So those kind of quotes, those kind of stories. And I'm like, this could help somebody. You know, if it helped me, I'm like, I'm just going to throw it out there. There isn't like a cap on how much I can throw up. Like, so I'm like, fuck it. What's the worst thing? Somebody's going to skip it. Big fucking deal. I don't care. It's like, if it happens, it happens. But if it helps Colman there or Tommy or Cole, you know, whatever, fantastic.
And I love quotes, and I love looking at your stories, and I'm a big believer in writing things down as well. And I've goal boards all over the room, and I actually have a quotes board in front of me, something like, the first one I looked at, become the best version of you today. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. And that's the first one I looked at. And then the fact is that would resonate with the both of us. And I would be attracted. I don't mean physically attracted, but in the fact that you're a good looking man, actually, nonetheless. But
thanks.
But the thing is that positive people attract positive people, and like-minded people connect with each other, and that's what it's important to do, to surround yourself with those positive people and people who are putting out information that are beneficial. Because right now there's a lot of doom and gloom, and I'd be one person to never mention about the things that you can't do. I don't mention the foods that you can't eat. I mention more so the foods that are beneficial to you and why they are beneficial. Exercise that you can do at home, things that you can get local, things you can get in season, and why they are a little bit more beneficial when you get things organic and you get them fresh. And that's the kind of people that I kind of want to hang around with, including yourself in that kind of a instance, and surrounding myself with those positive people.
I think you kind of touched on it there. It's important to note that I think people have this idea of your circle being the immediate people around you physically. I think your especially now with COVID, your social circle, your social media circle, you have to be very conscious of this. It was something that I never gave too much thought to until Paul said it to me, or maybe Brian Keane. I can't remember which the two boys said it. I was looking at people. So I was trying all these diets for years, shake diets, fucking no carb diets, keto diet, all these random things. And I was failing terribly, terribly. I mean, crash and burn stuff. I think I did like 3 days on the shake diet, and I was freezing and I had the shakes myself. And I felt physically sick. I was like eating like 800 calories a day. I wasn't even doing it. 6'4" and 20 something stone. I was like, I can't. But I was looking at Instagram and it was just, you know, Shawnee six pack. I was flicking through them. I was like, Jesus, how come I can't do that? And it was having like a subconscious negative effect on me. I think now I follow like 3 bodybuilders because they actually give content, you know, good stuff. And it's not just, oh, hey, look at me here on the beach. I swear this is recent. I didn't just like stock up on 200 different photos of me in 5 or 6 different pairs of shorts, you know. And it's very important that, and it's a bit of a curse on our generation. I think that social media has such an influence on our psyche, that you're looking at these people and you're constantly comparing yourself to them. And you said it there, and you said that quote you saw. One of my is from Jordan Peterson. It's compare you to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today.
Yeah, I'd be a big fan of quotes, and even Jordan Peterson is pretty big on quotes. And another one that's kind of coming to mind is stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10. And that happens on social media so much. And I'm going to put myself in that category. I'd be looking at other people who have so many numbers of followers, or so many, like, geez, he's much more along the way that further than I am in whatever area. But remember that they mightn't. I think that's only a snapshot of where they are right now, and that's only the physical on what's on the outside, what's going on up top. There's a lot of things about mental health that's not actually discussed. Like, sometimes people put on a face and they put on a photo and a smile, where their inside and their family and their relationships mightn't be as good as what they actually put on or see just from that image in that photograph.
The stuff on social media is the stuff people want you to see. Nobody, well, I can't say nobody, not a lot of people are putting up the maybe real stuff, the raw stuff. A lot of people put up I'm on my holidays, got a new car, got a new this, new handbag, new this. I'm not, like, lads put up pictures of their biceps about to burst. They don't put them up 2 days after the arm session when it's just back to normal again, because that doesn't look as good. And that's, you sit there and you go, Jesus, I don't have that much of a bicep going on. Like, neither do they half the time. Like you said, people just sit there, they compare themselves to people that are further down the journey than they are. They're comparing themselves to photographs that could be photoshopped. They're comparing someone else's highlight reel to the moment they're in right now. And your whole life's not a highlight reel. It's not how it works.
I suppose I want to just kind of touch on maybe 3 tips that you would give to people, I suppose, Steve, in relation to improving their health, whether it be training, whether it be foods, whether it be mindset, and you can pick them from any which way that you so wish.
Okay. 3 tips. I would advise, in terms of, say, fitness or training, don't listen to the, say, zealots that will say that this X here is the best form of exercise. The best form of exercise for you is the type of exercise A, you enjoy, and B, that is similar for you. Because if you enjoy something, you'll go back to it. If you hate it, like, and I did it for a long time, I tried sprints. I fucking hated it. I was 25 stone. It was killing me. I didn't want to go back to it. Whereas then I found a type of training I enjoyed, and I was looking forward to going back to the gym and hitting the weights. So find a training or a form of exercise or movement that you enjoy. So that's the first thing. Second bit of advice is going to be 2 bits kind of squashed together, but they're both to do with food. What gets measured gets managed, and controlling the controllables. So in terms of, I speak mostly about weight loss purely because it's what I know. But if you're on a weight loss journey, what gets measured gets managed. You measure your food, you keep an eye on what you're eating. I had no idea about portion control. Jesus, I used to be horsing out pasta and rice and stuff, thinking that was a portion. Fuck, afterwards, when I started weighing, I was like, how much rice was I eating? I'm like, how is it even possible? But when you control what you're putting in front of yourself and what you have readily available to yourself, whether that's just being cute and making a shopping list, knowing what you need and having it there, you don't turn to just eat just to get the pizza because you've got nothing in the fridge. So control what you can, and what gets measured gets managed. And
do you track your calories, Steve? Is that something you do on a regular basis, understanding of the foods, of how much protein, fats, and carbs you have in each meal or even each day?
Yeah, I track my calories. So I did it. I did. I know people say you don't. I had to, personally speaking, because my comprehension of calories, food, energy balance didn't exist. At the minute, I could go intuitive. I eat pretty much the same things most of the time. I think most people do, really, once they're in a bit of a rhythm. And I'd have a good enough understanding of foods now to actually know off the bat. The only thing is I'm on a cut at the minute, so I'm really watching my calories quite tight. So yeah, again, some people think it's obsessive. It's the same people that will check their bank balance when they go shopping. It's a budget at the end of the day. So is your calorie budget. You work within those means or else you overspend. Third tip, it's got to be something we've already talked about, but you don't have to take everybody's advice. Not everybody knows everything. And for me, when I was at that low point with my self-esteem and self-confidence, I thought that everybody knew. There was lads at work that hadn't fucking played a bit of football in their life or trained a bit in their life, and they were saying, you have to do this and you have to do that. And I was taking their advice on it. And I can't fathom it. I can't fathom why, but I believed every bit of bullshit I heard. Identify your circle, know why. There's a lot of bullshit on the internet, skinny teas and fucking Botox or fucking skinny detox shite, and it's a lot of nonsense out there. And just because they have a six-pack doesn't mean they know what they're talking about.
Totally. And those are three solid good points that anybody at any stage of, I suppose, their fitness journey, whether it be weight loss or just improved health, really would take on board and put into practice. They would gain massive advantage. And I suppose maybe the final question I just want to ask you, just being an organic grower and into foods, what would be your favorite vegetable?
Coin toss at the minute.
Oh, I like it.
Asparagus.
In season.
I didn't know, but that would explain why it tastes good at the minute. Long or tender stem broccoli, the skinny tall ones. I really like those. I don't know why, they just taste, I don't know, is it like the flavor of big broccoli is just condensed into this little body of broccoli? It tastes really good.
I'll give you nutritional facts on the likes of the broccoli first. Broccoli being high in magnesium improves on your sleep, and as well as that relaxes muscles, which would be great for you and in that cut phase right now, as well as contain iron. And the following thing is asparagus actually can improve your sex drive. So that's an important one to note for you and your missus.
It makes sense. Look at asparagus.
Yeah, no, and there's loads, but there's loads of vegetables that look like what they actually are beneficial for. Carrots is another one. When you cut a carrot in half, when you actually look at it, that's actually the symbol, relatively symbolizes an eye. Good for your sight, vitamin A.
I didn't know where you were going with that. I was like, what the fuck does the inside of a carrot look like?
And what a way to end the show, I'll tell you that there, Steve. What a way. Positive vibes. But I just want to firstly say thanks very much for coming on to the show. Where's the best place, I suppose, for the listeners to reach out to you on your social media platforms so they can follow your journey?
Instagram is about the height of it. I haven't cracked the TikTok like you have. I'm on the. That's how we met. I didn't pull the piss out of it, but I was pulling the piss out of the parsley coffee. But yeah, Instagram, Steve's Weight Loss. I talk a lot of shite there.
Right, but I'll be tagging it up. I'll be tagging it up in the show notes. And if you haven't actually heard about the parsley tea, it's something that I recommend to individuals. Why? Because that is something that doesn't contain caffeine, can improve the likes of your blood flow to your back of your eye. That's just something I do. A bit of a nut health freak, you could say, but I enjoy being healthy, and that's what I do. And I suppose I always finish the shows by saying, stay tuned, stay classy, and keep it organic.